people? How's everybody doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. We got some things to talk about. First thing I'm going to say is, I'm not sure what day this is like day 20 something. But this is day 3 for me. I've been in court for 3 days. It's all the 3 days for me. I think we can hit the... This is all the 3 days for me. Alright? All the 3 days. With that being said, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. So I want to be clear about something. So a lot of these females that was involved in this situation with Diddy at one point or another can be considered victims. Let's not get this confused. But at the same point, these are grown adults who at one point or another had the opportunity to move away from these situations. So we're not going to stand here and pretend all day like everybody, like they didn't have, like there wasn't some type of autonomy that they had themselves where they could have chose to do something different but did not go that route. We're not going to, I don't want to do that pretending, just so we could be clear. All right? So while I'm having this conversation, we're going to have this conversation with the understanding that what, these women, or this woman in particular, Jane Doe, was going through is not, or went through, is not something that we would want for our husbands. Obviously not. It's not something that we would want for our daughters, not something we want for our mothers. It's not something we want for our sisters. And none of this is done to shame her. I want to be clear on that. Because there's a difference between sticking up for women and a difference in saying that women are not going to be held accountable for their own actions. I believe that we should be sticking up for everybody. But I also do believe that people should be held accountable for their own actions. Now, with that being said, the prosecution have handed this witness over to the defense. It's the defense's job to go over the points that the prosecution made and to show you that those points are either erroneous or they've been misinterpreted, which is lies. It's not the defense's job to prove Sean Combs to be innocent. So the problem with this is, in our community, that's what we're looking for. How is that person innocent? No, you accuse that person of something. We're going to disprove the points that you're making to prove that you're using to prove the person to be guilty. And we're going to disprove those because that's what the job is. Now, why am I saying all that? The prosecution made a big point to make it seem like she was under the complete control of Diddy. Now, with that being said, a man as powerful as Diddy has a lot of people who are under his control. And what I mean by that is he has a very heavy influence, if that's to be fair. His influence is very heavy. So when she says she felt compelled to do something, I'm going to say, okay, fine. But when you're initiating the thing that you're saying that you don't like doing, I kind of feel different about this. So the point I'm trying to make is they started off the day by saying, basically, that there were multiple text messages from Jane Doe to Diddy, where she was speaking about, where she was speaking about how much she loved the freak-offs. And her main reasoning, so we can full disclosure, for saying that she loved these freak-offs is because it made Diddy happy. I need for you to put that into a certain place in your brain real quick. She liked doing them because it made Diddy happy. She said this on the stand. She could have said, I felt compelled to do these things because he put pressure on me. She didn't say that. She could have said, you know, Diddy said he had stopped paying my rent. She did not say that. Now, full disclosure, when she was speaking to the prosecution, she hinted to that. But Diddy's paying her rent right now. Diddy's paying for her lawyers right now, as we speak. She said she liked doing the freak offs because it made Diddy happy. That helps Diddy's case, in my opinion, exponentially. That means that there was no coercion. So if I like a thing, and you're doing a thing because I like it, so now you see me upset, or, you know, sad, let's say, not upset, but sad, then you do that thing to make me happy. That's not me forcing you to do anything. That's how a lot of these freak offs apparently came about, as of her own mouth, her own words. She would see that he was not in a good place, and she would ask him if she wanted to do a freak off, or when was the next freak off, or do you want me to put a freak off together? Now there's multiple text messages of this, with him being in one location in one city and her being in another location in another city. Why am I pointing this out? Because that means that he wasn't in the bathroom while she was in the kitchen in the same house arguing, and then they walked to separate rooms and she was like, I want to make up for this argument, would you like to do a freak off? No. They were in totally different places. She wanted to see him, and she knew if she said something about a freak off, she would see him. One plus one is indeed two. And just so we can even nail that point home a little bit more, just so we can be clear, this is not I'm not pro either one of these individuals. But just so we can nail this point home a little bit more, she said that there was a freak off in 2022 New Year's. She said that New Year she was with 3 guys. While she's saying she hated it, she sent him text messages talking about how much she loved it. But how that's the happiest she's ever seen him. Now, why does she do these freak offs again? Because it makes him happy. Something to think about. So, hold on, more context. On January 9th, remember, 2022, New Year's, they had freak offs that lasted, I think they said it lasted a couple of days, just so we can be clear. And there was 3 guys there. Right after the freak off, she messages him, talking about how great it was, how happy she is at the situation, all of this type of good stuff. Like positive vibes, right? And then January 9th, which would just be the next week, right? 7 days is in a week, so that would be the next week. She's pissed off at Diddy because he took some woman named Gina on vacation. So every time we hear about her being angry, it's because Diddy is spending time or money on another woman. We don't hear her being angry and pissed off about the freak offs. So I need to know why I should feel bad that she had to experience these things that she's not even complaining about. She's not complaining about the freak offs. She's not complaining about sleeping with these men. She's complaining that Diddy took some chick named Gina on vacation. So let's nail this home a little bit more. She goes on when the prosecution was talking to her, she said that Diddy ghosted her on her birthday. Just so we can have complete context, what she was saying is that after she did that night with them 3 dudes, it was supposed to make him happy, but it didn't. He ghosted her. He's a user. He's just using her for her body and the things that she'll do sexually for him and other men. Right? That's what she told the prosecution. So the defense says, hey, remember that thing you told the prosecution that Diddy ghosted you on your birthday? Yeah, well, just so we could be clear, your birthday's in the beginning of February, right? She's like, yeah. They show text messages from January 29th. Her birthday's the beginning of February. So Diddy didn't ghost you? So then they show February 5th, she celebrated her birthday with Diddy. So Diddy didn't ghost you. So Diddy ghosted you. You just heard the prosecution. Diddy ghosted you. Now you're talking to the defense. We're saying not only did Diddy not ghost you, but he called you before your birthday. And on February 5th, he apparently celebrated your birthday with him. And then you got mad again. Why did you get mad? Because after he came to you and celebrated your birthday in the States, he went outside of the States and spent time with Caresha. So that's what she's really mad about. She's not mad she had to do a freak off on New Year's. She's mad that Caresha gets to go out of the state, go all over the world with Diddy, and he doesn't do that for her. So I don't know how we're supposed to accept her testimony. That right there is a blatant misinformation that she did when she spoke to the prosecution. It's blatant. It's so blatant, it's a lie. So he's out on vacation with Caresha. How does she get Diddy to come back to the States and leave Caresha and come back to her? She threatened her. She said, well, if you don't come back tonight, that freak off that we're supposed to be having on Valentine's Day, I'm not doing it. Diddy hopped on a plane, immediately came back to the States. So once again, when she wants something, she go do a freak off with Diddy. So I need to know why I should feel bad for her. I need to know why I'm supposed to be sad for her. With all due respect. I just need to know. Because when she wants something from Diddy, she's offering these freak offs. Now she's on the stand saying she wish she never did it and she feels humiliated. Does she feel humiliated she did the freak offs, or she feel humiliated everybody know about it? Because it's 2 different things. Because don't forget, when she was doing these freak offs, people in the entertainment business knew about them. Everybody know about a Diddy party. So people knew about this. The public just didn't know about this. It wasn't common knowledge. So I need to know why I'm supposed to feel bad for this person. I'm not saying I don't. But I'm saying, why is it such an onus that she was the victim instead of being somebody who was complicit in the criminal acts? She also went to Diddy. So apparently all of these sexual activities that she's doing with one man at a time. She goes to Diddy and said, yo, Diddy, I'm ready to do a 2-man. Is that Diddy's fault? Diddy didn't ask her. She just offered all of this shit. Is that Diddy's fault? Are we now also blaming Diddy for the 2-man she's offering? She doesn't just want one guy there, she wants 2. I don't understand why Diddy couldn't have just been the second guy. I don't get it. I don't know what that is about. Maybe it really meant 3. I don't know. But she goes to Diddy and say, instead of having one guy, she wants 2. And she's never done this before, as she said on the stand. So she's not only offering to do the thing, but she's also offering to escalate it. I want to know, why are we supposed to feel bad for her? I think that's a fair question. I think that's the fairest of questions. Also, I want to point out, you know how she was constantly trying to, so when the prosecution was questioning her, I don't know how she came off to the other people, but she came off to me like she was saying basically every weekend she had to do a freak off with Diddy. It was a weekly thing. That's the way she came off. Right? So the defense gets the opportunity to talk to her. And apparently, she was going months and months and months with no freak offs in 2022. So again, information that was not disseminated in an honest manner. It was dishonestly disseminated. It was given to us by the prosecution and the witness, obviously, in a manner that was meant to deceive. They start going over the text messages. The defense starts going over her text messages. In her text messages, she's having periods of time where her and Diddy are doing things, hanging out together. They're together. No freak offs. They're spending quality time together. No freak offs. But when she spoke to the prosecution, she basically said in but so many words that the only way she could spend time with him was with a freak off. So I don't know why they put her on the stand. And I don't get it. I mean, they had to have had a better option than her. But the fact that they didn't is wild. I'm almost 100% sure why I know why they put her on the stand. And that's actually because of who she is. And since her name wasn't in the paperwork, the only way for us to know definitively who she was for her to take the stand. And I think that's the only reason why they put her on the stand. Because her testimony, in my opinion, I mean, it only helps Diddy. She talks about all the crimes that she committed. She hasn't spoken about one crime that Diddy has committed. What up, Mr. 444? She hasn't talked about one crime that Diddy has committed. Not one. Every crime she's talking about, and this is a criminal case, every crime she's talking about are crimes that were committed by her. She's the one that contacted the entertainers, what they call them, sex workers, whatever. She's the one that contacted them. She's the one that contacted them. She's the one that booked their flights. She's the one that booked the hotel rooms, as far as I know. And that is not even part of the crime. But she's the one that put together all of these events. She put them together. Her. No one else. Something to be mindful of. So I don't know how any of this hurts Diddy, to be honest with you. Mr. 444 says, you never lie, all you say is true. I said the same thing. She molded her story to fit the DR story and the state narrative. I agree. Yeah, I think that I don't think she's lied, just so we can be clear. But what I do think is she's omitting. And omission is and you can lie by omission. I think she's omitting things. I think they're talking around situations. I think that's what I think is going on. I don't think she's just flat out lying. I think that she's just omitting things that are important and gives context. Dr. Dawn Hughes. Oh. Yeah. So that's what I think that's going on. I think they're omitting things. I spoke with somebody today. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it on our shorts. But I spoke with somebody today, and that's with Diddy's party, or his people's, and they basically said she's just omitting things. There's things that she's leaving out. And I think that you can tell that there's things that she's leaving out just from her testimony. The way she's giving the testimony, the questions, the way she's answering the questions. I think you could just tell that she's just leaving stuff out. Like none of us are stupid. Like, unless we're willfully being stupid. So this is another thing I wanted to point out. If she hated these parties so bad, why, when she went to the sex shops to get the stuffs they were going to use at the parties, would she get rhino pills for the men? I need somebody to explain that. She says she hates doing this sex stuff. She hates it. She just absolutely hates it. She probably hates it now. But she's trying to pretend like she hated it back then. Then why is she getting rhino pills for the men? She's going to the sex shop to get the sex stuff. But she's also getting pills to make sure that the dudes is nice and erect. I need for somebody to explain this to me. How does that make any sense? Put it in the chat. I'm ready to listen. When the prosecution was speaking to her, the way she spoke on these matters was as of like she was being forced to do something against her will, like it was great. I want to know who picks up rhino pills for some people that are going to force themselves onto you. When you want a couple of them not to be able to get good, like, at least I don't got to worry about him. Like, wouldn't that be a plus? I'm just asking. Wouldn't that be a plus? That'd be a plus, right? Oh, that guy, it ain't getting up. I don't got to worry about him tonight. So that's another thing. Also, there's constant texts that she's sending to Diddy talking about how much she likes the freak-offs and how happy it makes her that he's happy when they're doing the freak-offs. How she's happy that this is something that they can share. But when she talks about why she's angry, it's always about some other B words. You taking them chicks over there, the Turks, and taking them all out of the country on vacation. You ain't taking me. That's all of her complaints. That's the only complaints she has. Everything else is complimentary. So I need to know, at what point do we consider her to be a victim? Are we just saying she's a victim because we hate Diddy? We just going on a Diddy hate train. We got DDS. Diddy derangement syndrome. Is that what's going on? Because I've spoken about Diddy in a ton of different ways. before this. We've been down here for this case. But while we're in court, we're supposed to remove our personal opinions. We're not supposed to go in there with our personal opinions to get the information and then bring it to you. We're supposed to go into court, get the information that they give, and then give it to you guys in a fair and honest way. And allow for you to decide what the information means for you. That's what we're supposed to do. I'm not throwing shots at nobody. I'm just saying, we're not supposed to be out here trying to get emotionally connected to any of this. We're reporters. We're supposed to be reporting. Another complaint she had, this is what I'm trying to explain. I believe that she was perfectly fine living this lifestyle. Definitely don't condone women beating. We're not doing that. That's insanity. I also don't condone injustice. That's insanity also. I do not think, just so we can be clear, the crime, she's mentioned crimes that she has immunity, but she's mentioned crimes. All crimes that Diddy could be found guilty of. Just so we can be clear. She's mentioned crimes. They're paying sex workers in states where prostitution is illegal. They're also flying these people over the state borders to have sex. That's also illegal. Even if they're adults and even if they're consenting. You can't take anybody from one state to another state to have sex with them. That's illegal. Copy? That's not a thing you can do. The drugs. Everybody forget, I think they caught Crusher with drugs in New York, didn't they? So the drugs. So there's things that Diddy is going to be found, or there's a good chance he's going to be found guilty of. Just so we can be clear. I'm not like this is it. He's going to be coming home. I'm not saying that. I mean, could he possibly be coming home? Sure. What the hell do I know? But I don't think this testimony right here is doing what the prosecution wants it to do. I think it's just doing something else. Mr. 444 says, sad thing is a lot of men in jail is guilty as far as the crime in the street, but the crime they commit in court is far more egregious than the crime in the street. Please explain that. I'm 100% sure you're making a great point, but I don't think I'm able to wrap my mind around it the way that you put it in the chat. So once again, she's complaining, but she's not complaining she don't want to do a freak off. She's complaining that he's not taking her to the restaurant she want to go to. Now, just so we could be clear, there's like some sushi place called Noble in Miami. So they have the hotel that's attached to the restaurant that's attached to some other shit. So when he took her to that hotel, he took her only to the hotel. So when they go out to eat, they don't leave the hotel. They just go downstairs and eat. But she didn't want to do that. She wanted to go to a whole nother restaurant and be seen. She's mad. Diddy was treating her like the ugly girlfriend. She is not ugly at all. But that's what Diddy was treating her like. You treat her like the ugly girlfriend. That's a complaint. She don't get to go outside during the daytime. That's a complaint. Why we never go outside when the sun's out? That's a complaint. That's a complaint. What the government is doing is worse than the crimes he committed. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not here to talk about what crimes are worse than what crimes. I'm not doing that. You could do that in the chat all you want. Y'all can have that conversation. I'm fine with it. But I'm not doing that. Because I'm not going to act like one person being a victim, but that's not as bad as a victim. No. A victim is a victim. All right? That's one. Two, just because somebody else is committing a bad crime, that don't mean that that person shouldn't be arrested. Like you're gonna show up and be like, well, that person's crime is worse, you could go free. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. But just so we could be clear, what crimes are you assuming that Diddy is actually in trouble for? Because I mean, he should have never sued that liquor company is what should have happened. He bucked. Alright? Diddy bucked. They started messing with his money. He didn't like it. Something was about to happen. He didn't like it. He bucked. And that's why all of this is going on. Let's just be honest. Remember the alcohol label Diddy sued? Then he sued some other big dogs, and I think sued another set of big dogs, and all of a sudden this shit come up. So let's not act like there's not more to this. And I get what you're saying. I 100% get what you're saying. But I think, all crimes that have victims specifically, But I get what you're saying. I'm just not going there. But you can go there what you want in the chat. I'm fine with it. She also testified the same night that she's complaining about. She also testified that she was happy that night. So all of these things that she's complaining about, she's also happy about. Let me rephrase that. All of these freak-off nights that they're talking about, she's allegedly been happy about. I don't think she cares about the freak-off nights. I think she cares people found out about it. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think she's just that girl. I think she's just, I don't know. I'm not saying Diddy turned her out. I'm not saying somebody else turned her out. I don't have the slightest idea. But this is what she's into now. This is her lifestyle. And she embraced it. She embraced it. And the text messages prove that. Also on the stand, she admitted, or she acknowledged, that Diddy did have her do more than what she probably wanted to. But she also said it's her fault. So if she can take blame, if she can accept blame for her own behavior, who are we to exonerate her for the behavior that she should be accepting blame for? I need somebody to explain this to me. I need somebody to explain this to me. I'll say this again. She got on the stand and she acknowledged Diddy did push her too far. But she also said it's her own fault. She was pretty clear about that. So I'm not throwing shots at anybody. But anyone that is basically saying that she is not to blame at all and it's all Diddy, she doesn't even agree with you. Now, we should protect women, literally what a man's job is. 90% of a man's job involves protecting the people that he loves that aren't as strong as him. That's a big part of a man's job. So yes, that means that any women that are in your vicinity, in your care, under your protection, children under your protection. You understand? Even friends. You understand? So I am in no way heartless towards her life. But we're not going to act like she didn't take a 3-month break from the dude and then contacted him back to get with him after she started her OnlyFans and I guess wasn't making the money she thought she needed. So she started her OnlyFans, for everybody that don't know. And then about 2 or 3 months after she started the OnlyFans, she went and contacted Diddy back. She was doing a soft core type of OnlyFans allegedly, where she wasn't doing any hardcore stuff, but it was like, you know, the naked pictures where they got their hands over their privates and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you what I think happened. I think 2 things happened. Pay attention. I think the first thing that happened was she realized the money wasn't coming the way she thought the money should come. And I think the second thing that happened was she stopped feeling sexy. Because when she was doing those freak offs, at least in those moments, in that moment when they was in the middle of the freak offs, in those moments after the freak offs, when she was laying with Diddy, she felt sexy. She felt wanted. I think when she put the OnlyFans up, it didn't do the numbers that she thought it would do. And I think that just hurt her. So I think, this is all my opinions, I think she didn't only contact Diddy because money was low and it wasn't coming the way she needed it to. But I think she also contacted Diddy because now in this part of her life, that's something she needs. She doesn't feel sexy. She doesn't feel attractive. That's a big deal for a woman. I'm a guy. So, I mean, I don't... But I've heard women speak on these things, and I've seen some of the absolute insane things women do, you know, to feel sexy. This is important to them. All men, always make your woman feel sexy. Please do. But yeah, she didn't feel sexy. And the money got hit. And that's why I think she went back to Diddy. So I don't know how bad I'm supposed to feel for a person who goes right back to the individual who they say was, terrorizing. Went back to the individual who was their, abuser. The person who was a predator onto them. She was removed from him for a couple of months. She went back. Now, if we add that to the fact that there's multiple different texts from Diddy saying, I think we should end this, and her being against ending it. There's multiple texts where Diddy's like, I think we should end this. He all the way bipolar, just so we can be clear. So he got his own thing going on. He has probably multiple personalities. I don't know. I'm just saying stuff at this point. But in any regard, there's multiple texts where he's saying he want to break up with her. You should go. Stop being with me. Get out of here. Shit like that. And she arguing to stay with him. So I don't know at what point do we start allowing for her to have any agency over her own decisions. Like, are we, every decision she makes, we're just supposed to say, is somebody else telling? Like, at what point does she take responsibility for her own actions? There's just text message after text message after text message of her saying she was enjoying all of the freak-offs. And also, there's text message after text message after text message of her being pissed off that he's taking girls out on vacation. Not the other way around. Also, Diddy would be with other women, she said, and ask her to send him the pornography that she made with other men. And apparently she did this. She would send them. So at what point is we going to hold her accountable for her own behavior? At what point are we going to say every single thing that she do is somebody else's fault? Because I know when I do some shit, I got to be held, I'm usually held responsible. So I want to know why she shouldn't be held responsible for her own behavior. I'm just curious. And I think that's a fair question. Because it's not one thing, it's not two things, it's like 6, 7 different things that we're all just exonerating her for and not holding her accountable for. And these are all decisions that she made, that she could have made different decisions. And some of these things that happened that she's complaining about was completely her idea. Nobody else wasn't even thinking about it. So Jane also, she admitted that Diddy would tell her, yo, I don't need a hotel night, a freak off. And she'd be like, yes, you do. So if she is so against these freak offs, if she's so against these hotel nights, she's so against all of this stuff. She hates these things. This is terrible things. Then why when he says, oh, I don't need this no more, does she say, yes, you do? See, this is the thing about a person when they're addicted to a drug. They know they're addicted. You have to catch them in those small windows when they have reflected on their actions and they're thinking about how it's tearing up their life. And in those little windows, they'll be like, oh man, I don't need that drug no more. Oh man, I don't need that no more. That was his window. And what does she say? Nah, you need those nights. But we're also supposed to be bad that she had to do these nights. But at the same time, even when he's saying he don't want to do these nights, she's insisting that they do these nights. And even on other occasions, when she just see him be a little bit sad, she's insisting that they do these nights. So I need an explanation. Because it sounds like people are so mad at Diddy that they're ready to just say everything that everybody else did is fine. And I don't think that's fair. I just don't think it's fair. That's all. I just don't think it's fair. She also sent a text to apologize about complaining about freak-offs. So I don't even know when she complained about the freak-off, because it's not in the texts aren't complaining about the freak-offs. But she sent an apology text apologizing about complaining about freak-offs. So I don't get it. At what point do we hold her accountable for her own behavior? Or are we just gonna say everything she did bad in the world is Diddy's fault? Then they played a video, but you know, I wasn't in the place, so I only got to see hear the audio of Diddy and Jane having a great time, enjoying each other's company as they talk about saving each other from depression. The prosecution wants you to believe that Diddy's a monster, which he might be. What the hell do I know? But I don't think this witness is proving that. I don't think this witness is proving that. I think that if we're going to be fair, this witness isn't proving it. I think if we're going to go in with all the information that we might or we think we know about Diddy, and we go in with all that information, we're doing that now, apparently. Then you could, people are going to have their predisposed opinions, based on how they feel about something emotionally. But I think that if we're looking at her testimony, in all fairness, she said a lot of things that went not accurate. She's hid a lot of information. And she's misrepresented herself. Let's be clear. She liked the freak-offs. It just hurts for now the world to know that you like this happening to you. But I'm gonna give her a little bit of solace. There are a lot of women that like that type of thing. There are a lot. You got to do that type of thing with a guy who has so much money that you didn't have to pay for anything. He's still paying for your home. He's still paying for your lawyers. Still taking care of you. You ahead of the game, baby. Not a game you should have been in. Just so we can be clear, you should not have been in this game. But you're still ahead of it. By leaps and bounds. With that being said, I'm going to end this segment. Got to get some eats. And I don't know, depending on how the day is looking, I'm not promising nothing. But we do got to start getting back to the Tonight Show. I was thinking by the end of the month, I'll have a new camera because I need a new camera. I broke my other camera. I'm just dangerous and sloppy with shit. But I might get it to be able to get it to work. Anyway, in any regard, we got to get back to the Tonight Show and Morning Coffee. We got to get it back, and we have to bring it back. I know I've been saying this for a long time, but all of my other endeavors, I've cut down on a lot of the outside non-BBN things that I was doing. So I have a lot more time for BBN now, and we have to get to more lives in general, and we got to get to more content, and I'm going to try to bring it to y'all. With that being said, look, I love y'all. Go out there in the world, do something great, stamp God's name on it, God first. I'm out. Salute.